My name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today is part 2 of the eBay repair challenge. This week is a mechanical item, so I thought what a good opportunity now to do what I love doing, and that's messing around with watches. So I've chosen an automatic watch. So this watch does not have a battery in it. It works via the movement of your wrist. So you don't even have to wind it up. If you wear it every single day, then there's a big weight in here, a rotor that spins. So, you know, there's like an off-centered weight. And every time you move your wrist, it moves round, wherever gravity is, it moves to, and it will slowly wind your watch up. So by you wearing it all day, it's just doing tiny little winds all the time, which is the same as keeping your watch fully wound up. So with this watch here, it was sold for £20 plus £7.50 postage. Shake it like mad, then it will start ticking. Sometimes. Hold on. Basically, it needs a service. Okay, it's not shake. It's not go. There you go. It's going now. Yeah, but that will only go for a couple of minutes and then stop. Now, when I pull the crown out here, it does turn and everything, but it feels very stiff. Also, the day and the date do move. But again, everything just feels really stiff. So I think what's happened here is it just needs a service, because this is a relatively cheap watch. And are you going to pay, for example, a proper watch professional to service a watch? Maybe pay, I don't know how much they're going to charge for this, but I find it very hard to believe that it could be done in less than an hour. So are you going to pay for maybe 2 hours work or possibly longer on a Seiko, when you can probably get a working one for £40 or £50, or even buy a brand new one for a little bit more than that? Probably not. So you do get quite a few of these on eBay which are sold as faulty, which is great for the likes of me, because hopefully there isn't a broken component in here. I'm hoping it just needs a service, because what happens is the oil, after all the years, gets gummed up. Now, I don't know the date of this. Let me just show you the back. It is a 6309 movement, and then it says 5090 after that. Yeah. And I believe you can work out the date from this model number or something. If I was to take a guess, I would say, I'm just guessing now, I would say in the 80s sometimes. But what I'll do is I will type those numbers in, and I'll put up on the bottom of the screen what date I think it is. I'm reckoning it's from the 80s. So what happens is, over the years, the oil just gets gummed up, and then it leads to more friction, and then the watch stops working. So basically, in this video today, it's going to be mostly fast forwarding through, because this will take me hours. It will probably take me 2 hours or longer to disassemble it all. That's without any losing screws on the carpet and on my hands and knees for hours on end. And then it's going to take me probably another hour to clean it. Then I'm going to put it all in the ultrasonic cleaner to clean it. And then I've got to reassemble it and try to oil it in the correct places. So realistically now, for me, there's more than a day's work here. But I do quite enjoy it. The problem with it is it's very fiddly. So to kind of turn my brain off a bit, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be copying a tutorial online. So I'm subscribed to a guy called Mike, and he's got a channel on YouTube called My Retro Watches. And what I like is he's not a professional. He has got a day job. He does this as a hobby. And he kind of explains things in a way that you can understand it if you don't know every single part of a watch. So in this video now, if I do talk about anything, I'm going to be saying like this thingy here, this thingy bob here, and blah blah blah, and this one here, because I don't know the proper names of anything. This is not my game. But just because it's not my game, it doesn't mean that I don't appreciate the inside of the watch. I love the fact that all these small things go together to make something work, and I love the fact that it hasn't got a battery in, because it's just working. It's kind of like a sailboat off the wind. It's just working with the movement of your wrist, which I think is really nice. So that's why I like watching Mike's videos, because he explains it in a way that you can understand it, even though you might not know your way around the watch. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be copying him completely. So I'm going to set up the camera, and the whole thing's just going to be fast forwarded through. Obviously, if I lose something, break something, find something broken, then I will stop the video and explain it. But most of it will be just fast forwarded through. Already, I can see it's going to be quite hard to get the back off. I haven't come across one of these before. I can see there's 2 things here, but there's also 2 things there. So what I have to do is I have to take this apart, get the movement out, and then disassemble it all, clean it all. I'm going to do it with IPA, then pop it in the ultrasonic cleaner, and then I've got to reassemble it all using a bit of oil, and I'm hoping then it will start ticking properly and keeping good time. I haven't got a timer machine, so I'm not going to know really how well the beaten this, that and the other is. But what I'll do is I'll get it all back together and I'll leave it for 24 hours. I'll set it to the internet and I'll see how much time it loses, and then hopefully I will be able to adjust it using the balance wheel. Normally on the balance wheel there's a little plus and minus that you can move it ever so slightly to make it go faster or slower. So yeah, that is going to be it. So yeah, let me get started. To begin with, I won't fast forward just yet. Let's see if I can actually get the straps off and get this movement out, because already I'm a little bit nervous about doing that because I haven't come across one of these before. So now all my tools are just real cheap kind of pound shop type tools. I've got like a kit that I got off Amazon. I think it was £30 years and years ago. I think they've dropped all the way now to maybe, I think they've dropped all the way to like £15 or £20. Let's see if I can get the straps off. There we go. Right, okay. The seller put a new strap on it. Right, so maybe I can pry it from here. Let's just see what happens. Okay, there's something happening in here, isn't there? Did that loosen it? No. I'm already at my, oh there we go, already at my first hurdle. It's already had quite a few bashes here, so it looks like somebody else has also struggled. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's sort of come out quite nice, isn't it? Right, so that gives me a good opportunity to clean this. This is acrylic, which you think is a bad thing, but it's not, because they're really easy to clean. You can just get yourself some like polywatch, rub it on there, and it's quite therapeutic, because even if it's really scratched, you feel it go rough, and then within like 10-20 seconds you feel it getting smooth, and they're really easy to clean up. While when it comes to like the mineral ones, they're really hard to clean. Right, okay, so it looks like there's a kind of rubber thing around the edge here, so let's see if we can loosen that. Just going to get a tiny screwdriver. It's like a rubber seal. Here we go. Now, I suppose the good thing is this movement is a 6309, and there does look to be a lot of them for sale. So if I do need spares, I've got a feeling the spares are going to be quite available and also quite cheap as well. Right, okay, that's come out there. Excellent. That needs a bit of a clean, but it's intact. Good thing about this watch is it does look to be in good condition. Right, okay, so I need to now take this movement out of this case because it's still in the case. Now normally with the cases I'm used to, I just kind of unscrew the back or pop off the back, but this is definitely different. So to remove the crown, there's normally a button you press in, but there is no button here because I can't get to the back of it. So I'm looking around the place and I can see that there is a tiny little hole here. So I'm thinking that this is probably where you remove the crown. Now I should be wearing gloves, but I'm not at the moment. I'll wear gloves when I'm reassembling it because it's all going to be getting cleaned anyway. Now when it comes to the dial looked better through the glass than it does now when it's out. I can see quite a few marks and stuff around here, but I have got this stuff called Rodico, which is really good. Let me show you it. Right, it's this stuff here. It's not expensive, but it's really good stuff. So because I'm not very good with the tweezers, basically, when you see this here, it's going to look really, really easy. It's not really easy, because look at the size of my finger. Most of the gears and stuff in here are tiny, absolutely tiny. And then you see, you get your tweezers and you have a few shakes and stuff. It's very, very hard. So I even use this Rodico to take out the screws and stuff, because every time I grab one with a tweezer, it pings off, and then I've got to spend 3 hours on my hands and knees trying to find something that's as small as, well, you know, a pinhead, basically. So, but this is also good for cleaning up the dials and getting the dirt off and stuff like that. So I can do all that at the very end, as long as it doesn't go wrong. I mean, obviously there's no point in cleaning it all up if the thing's not going to work. Right, so let's try and get this out. I'm just going to press in here. Oops, that didn't sound good. Hold on now. Doesn't sound good at all. Maybe I should leave it in and then take it out. No, that's not coming. Right, now let's take it out and press in. No. Right, so I've already got my first problem. Let me try to get something smaller. No, I can't even feel it giving. I'm going to use a tiny screwdriver. Oops, I've gone right through now. So there should be something in there, like a little lever to then release this. No, this is a really bad start. I might even fail before I even begin. I wonder, can it just, I wonder, can I see it in there? Let me get the eye loop. Right, I can see something ever so slightly more in. I was thinking of going straight down, but maybe it's more in this way. I can definitely see something that looks like a lever in there. So now let's try it. Oh, right, okay, well, I just, yeah. Well, do you know what? That's not necessarily a bad thing. All the hands and everything just sprung straight off because I was putting so much pressure on here. So, I didn't use any tool or anything, but now at least this will come off here. Well, the dial feet are probably all bent. See if I can work that off there. I should be able to turn that now anyway, shouldn't I? There we go. Right, now I should be able to work out what's happening. So let's zoom in again and see what's happening with this. See where this mystery lever is. Right, I'm assuming that it's this, thinking that it's going to be this little button here, is it? Would this be it to press in? No, that doesn't give at all. So what do you have to press to get the crown out? Right, let's have a look. When you pull that out, that goes there. See, on the watches that I've done before, you get it from the other side, not this side. But obviously they've got a hole here for a reason, haven't they? And that is to release the crown. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to undo the screw here to release this, to release the dial. Excellent. Good news is it doesn't look massively rusted up if you look at that there. That all looks pretty good, doesn't it? And I'll be able to bend that back into place hopefully. Where's the lever gone? Has it popped off? Has it fallen? Has it fallen out? Let's see. Let's see if there's anything loose in here. No. See, sometimes I wonder if, you know, is this why things are sometimes sold on eBay? You know, take the back off. Maybe this is a well-known problem. I don't know. If there's no lever there, then just, you know, sell it on. Thing is, though, where the lever's not going to have just fallen out of the watch, is it? Right, rather than ruining my chances completely, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look online and see if somebody's got an answer to this. If I type in the model number at the back, maybe other people have had the same issue as me, so I'll be back in a little bit. Right, I've had a look, and there's not a huge amount on it. When I typed in the model number, it did actually say, I think it was 1988, somebody had it down as, but I don't know if this particular watch is from that time. Basically, there should be a little setting lever here, a little thing that little lever that protrudes out. It looks like a kind of spanner that should emerge apparently when you take this out like this. So I don't know whether it was there originally or not. I'd need to watch back the video, but it's not there now from what I can see anyway. So it must be something that goes underneath and kind of levers up. I wonder, could I... Oh, hold on. Oh no, that's the rotor going around. I wonder, could I get a bit of metal, put it in there, and by pot luck kind of lifting it up, would I happen to just hit against the correct lever? Okay, so I've got a paper clip. I've just bent the end like that. Now obviously I don't know how long I have to do this. I'm just trying to replicate what the original thing would have done. Yes! Yes! Oh, brilliant. Oh, that feels so good. Brilliant. Oh, look at that. Fantastic. I managed to get it out. Oh, what a relief. What a relief. I don't think I've caused too much damage. Now, this is definitely bent, but this was bent beforehand because when I was turning it, it wasn't straight. So if you have a look, can you see, like when I turn that there, it looks off center. You know, this bit here looks bent. Oh, I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. Right, I thought it was going to be game over from the very beginning there. I mean, the chances of me getting it all working are pretty slim. It's just that I at least want to give it a go. Ah, yes. Wow. Now, hold on. What did I actually press in? Oh, it's this little one here, isn't it? Yeah. It's that little one here. So that's what you have to press in here. This one. So where is the setting lever? Let me zoom in to show you. Right, so now if it was accessible from the back, you see all you have to do is, look, can you see, pull it out a couple, and then I'm just going to gently push that lever in there. Let me use a smaller screwdriver. There, and it comes out. Do you know what? The odds of having that into there were pretty slim. Obviously, the watch gods were looking down at me today and saying, Vince, we're going to give you a break. Now, where is this lever? Because otherwise, the next person that does this is going to have exactly the same problem as what I've got. Do you reckon it's been missing for ages? Or has it fallen into the movement somewhere? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it apart in the normal way, and you never know, when I take it apart I might find that it's been jammed in here or something, because you know I was poking around a lot to begin with, wasn't I? So I'm hoping it's in there. So let's get the camera set up so that my hands are not constantly in the way of it coming apart, and yeah, let's see what fun we can have with this. Okay, so the self-winding part of the watch basically winds up this thing here, which winds up the mainspring. So if you listen, yeah, you can see that's winding. But we need to take the tension all out of this, otherwise when we take it apart it's going to go crazy on us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a screwdriver and I'm going to just start to wind it until this part here that stops it from unwinding lifts out a little bit. And now I've just left that out there, and look, can you see? I'm just letting the screwdriver, if I let go of that screwdriver now, that would ping around really fast. I'm just sliding the screwdriver through in my hands until all the power's gone from it. Actually, there's quite a bit in there. There we go. Yeah, and now it's completely, you can see now if I let go, there's nothing there. So now I can let go of that. Now when we get further into it and we take it apart, hopefully it won't explode, because that's happened on me a couple of times where everything just explodes out. Right, so here we have the barrel. So in here is the spring. So basically what happens in here, the spring gets fully wound up and then it wants to release all that tension straight away. But because of all the gears in the watch, it can't release it straight away. It can only release it bit by bit. And lastly, this wheel in the middle here. There we go. So that's it, all sorted. Now I did that purely following step-by-step Mike's video, and that's what's so nice. It reminds me of working on like my Mini or my MGB years ago, just following the Haynes manual. Somebody else has done the hard work and all you're doing is just following step by step, and that is the beauty of YouTube. So what I have to do now is just give everything a really good clean. This has been completely dismantled. I'm going to be putting IPA, that's 99.9% alcohol everywhere, and I'm just going to be cleaning everything up, because along the way sometimes I have seen a few bits of grime and stuff. There was actually a hair, not a hair, some sort of fibre that was wrapped around the pallet fork a little bit. So none of that's gonna help. Maybe that happened when I was dismantling it now, I don't know. But yeah, that is it. So let me just zoom out a little bit and show you all the bits everywhere. Okay, so I've got bits over here, I've got bits going across here and down here. So there's loads of different parts to this watch. Right, so the parts that I'm not going to be cleaning in IPA are going to be the pallet fork, the balance wheel, because apparently it's bad for the jewels, they can fall out. Also things with print on, so obviously the dial, this calendar wheel, the day wheel as well, the plastics, rubber, stuff like that. So I'm only really going to be cleaning on with the IPA the metal stuff, so it's not going to cause any damage to it. So this is what I'm using for the initial part of the clean, and this is 99.9% alcohol. And I'm just using a little flux brush. Now I'm just wearing some gloves just to stop my fingers from drying out. That's the parts all cleaned up with IPA, and now I'm going to pop in quite a few of them into the ultrasonic cleaner. So I'm not going to put the balance wheel in, I'm not going to put the pallet fork in, but most of the gears and stuff, I'm not putting the plastic in, but most of the gears and also the case as well, I'm going to pop into the ultrasonic cleaner. Obviously, I'm not doing anything like this because then it will just take off the markings on it, and I'm not doing the dial. Okay, so here's the ultrasonic cleaner. It's just at 20 at the moment, it's just heating up. When it gets to 50, I will then turn it on over here for 30 minutes. In here is the ionised water and also jewellery cleaner, and I've just got a container with all the parts in there. Remember, I've already cleaned them with IPA anyway, and to be fair, they already look pretty clean. So hopefully, when this is done, I'm just going to put it back together. I still don't know whether the watch is not working due to it being gummed up, or whether or not there's wear on a component. I'm not going to know that until I put it back together. I hope it's just because it was gummed up with old oil. So I'll get back to this when this has all done its thing. Right, so what I'm going to do again now is I'm going to clean it with IPA again, and hopefully it will get off all of the solution, because I want these completely dry. So I've cleaned them all in IPA now, so I've just got to let it all evaporate off, which it will do. But to give it a little helping hand, I've got a little air duster here, so I'm just going to be spraying it down, and this will help evaporate off the IPA. So I'm going to be doing that on each of the parts before I put them on. So now basically I need to oil it as I put it back together. I'm going to be copying Mike's video just step by step. Again, turn my brain off, just copy his video. He's already done the hard work. But now you will need to get some oilers or something, like a small needle or something. Now oilers do work better than the needle because it seems to just let the oil drip off it easier, or the needle can sometimes let the oil stick to it. But all I'm going to be doing is putting a tiny little bit of oil on the mat here and just tapping the oiler in it and just oiling the respective parts as and when Mike on the video tells me to do the oiling. So now with the oil, there's all different types you can get. Remember, I'm not a professional at all. The oils are very, very expensive. So if you're only doing one watch, then you're not going to go out, if it's like a Seiko watch like this, and spend kind of £50 on one oil and £40 on another oil. If you want a kind of a cheaper oil that still does the job, then I've got Mobius 8000s here, and this was probably, I can't remember how much it was. I think it was maybe, I don't know, it was definitely under £10, £7 or £8, but obviously it's a tiny, tiny, tiny thimble's worth. But saying that, it goes a long way, so I'm just going to be putting a tiny dot on here, or depending on how much oil I need, what I'll probably do is take the lid off, get one of the bigger oilers, take a few bits out, dot it on the mat here, and then use it from there. My mat is now actually, although it looks filthy, is actually very clean because I've cleaned it that many times with IPA. You can see that there's no dust or anything stuck to it there. So yeah, that's going to keep me busy for quite a while now. Again, I'm just going to be fast forwarding through it. I'll stop every now and then along the way. If I have any problems, again, I'll film that along the way. This bit here is really fiddly, and in the past when I was working on, I think that first Amiga that I was doing, I think it was, or Tudor maybe, oh I can't remember which one it was, but this is where I had problems because you've got to line so many of the gears up. But I'm hoping that this will be easier than the Amiga ones. I think there's less, I don't know if there's less to line up, but and it's so easy to break the top of the gears because they're just like tiny little needles. Excellent, right, that feels like it's on there solidly. But it can't be because this is not spinning. Yes it is. No it's not, no. Right, I'm really struggling trying to get this on. Right, at this moment in time, there's nothing broken, so it should go on. I don't know. Not sure why it's so hard. Excellent. Right, I've got it. Right, I'm going to get a screw in that. That was just. I don't really know what I did. If I did it again, I'd fumble along the same way. It just suddenly went. I think it was this one here that was causing me trouble. The gear that was around, I presume, in this one here. Right, okay. Now if you have a look there, you can see when I move the mainspring there, all the others are moving. If you look at the escape wheel as well. Yeah. And also it sounds nice as well. Right, okay, so obviously the reason it all has to move freely is because you're not, if it's like seized up like it was when I was trying to do it, it's not going to transfer the power from the spring down through the gears to the balance one. So it all has to be able to move very freely. Right, I'm really happy with that so far. Okay, so I've got that on now, and now if you watch this, if I give it a little wind, you can see it's whizzing around. There you go, and then it comes to a stop. So I just want to make sure this is done up nice and tight. Right, so I've got this pallet staff in now and put like the bridge over it, and now look, I've given it a couple of winds here just to put a bit of power into it. And watch, if I just tap it here, can you see it jumps over to the other side? And then tap it here and it jumps over. So basically that's what the balance wheel will hopefully do when it's going back and forth. Right, so this is the fun part now. I've got to try to get the balance wheel back in, and this is going to see, because I've already put a bit of sort of charge into it, haven't I? So this will see now whether or not it's actually going to start working. Right, okay, well it's not doing anything yet. I don't know whether I've got it in wrong or not. Let's give it a few more turns. No, it's stopping. Right, okay. Well, I think I'm in the right place. I'm just going to look closely. No, well I've obviously done something wrong, so let's take this out. Do you know what, that pallet cock's not going, that pallet staff's not going back and forth enough. So I'm going to undo this again and try to do this bit again. Now if you look, it seems to be going over both sides with the same strength. That side there, and now if I tap that side, that side. Yeah, I think that feels better than it did before, so maybe it was just misaligned before. Right, I had to give it a bit of a helping hand, but it looks like it's doing it now. I haven't put the screw in yet. Right, okay, I'm just going to watch that for a little while before I do that screw up, just to see if it's still going. So I'm just going to leave that now a couple of minutes. Okay, so it's a couple of minutes later now, and look, it's still going. So I don't know whether, by me just giving it a bit of a kick start, it's put it back into the correct position. My worry is that when it winds down completely, I'm obviously not going to be able to kick-start it unless just a shake off the wrist will do the same thing. I'm not too sure. You can see now that this is going back and forth. Have a look in here. You can see the little escape going back and going around constantly, and that little pallet fork. Can you see it? In, out, in, out, in, out. Yeah? And then look, it's turning this one here. So what you're seeing turning now is, I believe, the second hand. So that's going round, you know, so that will do a revolution. It will do a full revolution in 1 minute, so from here all the way round. But isn't that lovely? So I'm going to pop the screw in here now. Right, now I'm going to follow the rest of the video and try to get, I think we're pretty much done on this side now, and then try to get all the calendar side done. But look at that. Hope it's keeping good time. But if not, this is where I can adjust it. Can you see there's like a plus and a minus? So I can just move this a little bit that way or a little bit this way. But I've got to obviously get all the hands and everything on first, so I'm not out of the woods yet. Right, unfortunately I'm running into problems. So basically I just put the cannon pinion back on, and shortly before that I noticed that it stopped turning, and I thought to myself, well that's okay, you know, maybe I didn't put enough charge in it. But now what I've done is I've been winding it up and it keeps stopping on me. So I don't know whether I've over-oiled it, or is it something to do with the fact that I haven't cleaned out these dire shocks, because there's a jewel here and there's also one on the other side here for the for the top and bottom of the balance. You see there's one here and there's one here. Now I really didn't want to get involved in them because they're very fiddly, but the thing is right now this watch is not working properly. So I think I'm going to have to basically try to undo them. The annoying thing is I've got to use the eye loop, so I think I'm probably going to end up getting in the way. Right, that's one out. I'm going to get some Rodico on the go because this is going to ping outwards. I've now taken out the other one from the other side of the balance. I was trying to keep the jewel perfectly straight so I knew exactly which way to put it back in, but then it pinged off. But luckily it only went about 6 or 7 centimeters, so I could find it again. Right, I've got them in, which is great, but look, it's still not working. That's weird, because earlier on it was working for a long time. I wonder if I over-oiled something. No, look, they just keep stopping. Oh, I'm really disappointed because it was going so well. Right, I'm gonna take it apart again. It must be a problem. I'm pretty sure the problem's to do with the balance down here. So either the balance or the pallet fork. Right, okay, so I've just been chatting to Mike on the phone and I've got a few ideas. Basically, I just need to fault find it better. So for example, is it a fault with the drivetrain here? If this is working fine, is it a fault with the pallet fork? If that's working fine, it must be something to do with the balance wheel. So I just need to sort of work through it methodically and hopefully then I will find out what the problem is. So I'm going to be doing this off camera because this might take me 1 or 2 hours, I haven't got a clue. But hopefully when you see this next it will be ticking and then I can get on with doing all the calendar side and putting that back together. Okay, I appear to have it working again now. So basically what I did is I just put the pallet staff back in and the bit on top, and then I took out these DiaShock jewels again, top and bottom, and I was chatting to Mike, and basically you have to oil the flat. It's kind of obvious when you know, but it's the flat side of the jewel, because the jewel's got a flat one side and then a slightly domed on the other side. You put the oil on the flat side and the oil goes against the pivot of the balance wheel. Right now it's working, and it's also working when I put it in different orientations. Yeah, so even like upside down it will still tick to the side, but it's only been doing this for a couple of minutes, so I don't know if it's going to work long term or not. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue on with the build over the other side now, because I think all of my problems are to do with like the balance wheel or the pallet staff. So if I have to take these apart again, it's not a problem. I can do that, I believe, without worrying about the calendar side. So that's what I'm going to work on now. Okay, so it looks like the calendar side's now done. So if I do it that way, you can see that the date is spinning round. And if I do it this way, you can see that the day is spinning round. And also, when I go around all the way and do 24 hours, it does spin. So let me just show you that. It'll take quite a while to get through. There you go. Excellent. And also the good news is it's been around, I had to do a few other bits, so it's been around 6 hours or so now, and that's still oscillating back and forth. So whatever the issue was before, it's definitely solved now. Okay, it looks like I found out what the original fault with this one was. Now, I was about to put in this wheel here. I think it's called a transmission wheel. So this is the thing that transfers the movement, you know, the rotor going round to wind up the mainspring. And I was watching Mike's video and he said to oil this jewel here. And I had a look in here and I can't see any jewel. Now obviously the jewels have a nice pink colour, and look in here, there's just like an empty hole. So then I thought to myself, ooh, you know, I wonder, did I lose that? Did it come off in the ultrasonic cleaner? And I watched back the video. And as soon as I took this off, way before it went in the ultrasonic cleaner when I was dismantling it, I pulled this one out, and my eye didn't see it, but it's on camera. You can see the remnants of the jewel in there and it looks smashed. So I'm just going to show you that bit again now. Did you see that it looked cracked and smashed in here? So I suppose what would happen is when this goes in here, there's going to be too much play. Can you see? There's just like you know, moving left to right. So I'm presuming it's not going to make a good contact against here, and maybe it doesn't wind properly. So I could put it together. Maybe, I mean, hopefully the original fault was just the fact that there was dirt and grime in it, but maybe it would wind, but it's not going to wind properly, is it? The jewel's there for a reason, so it's just going to cause massive wear on this after a while. So basically what I need to do is I need to get a replacement bridge here, which is a little bit annoying because this was the hardest thing of everything to put together. But yeah, there's not really much I can do about that, because I'm not going to be able to just slot a jewel in there. So obviously when I did all the cleaning and stuff, the remains of that jewel would have just you know, gone into the ultrasonic cleaner or gone wherever it's gone to. But at least it's interesting because it looked like the watch didn't just need a clean, it's got another fault as well, which is, I suppose, makes it more interesting. It makes it feel like it's more worthwhile. So I'm going to have to now get one of these. Right, okay, I've got my replacement one, which is this one here. Now, if you can have a look, in here we now have the jewel. Well, it's not in here, but what's interesting is, on this one we just kind of had like a metal hole in the middle, but this one we have actually got a jewel, so this one is probably going to be a better plate anyway. Let me just turn them both over. So you can see they're the same movement, but yet this is like 3 pink jewels in it, here, here and here, and this one would have had 2 if this one wasn't broken, but this one is metal on here, but it's a jewel on here. So I'm now going to install this one into R1 and see what happens. Okay, we're back to where we were now before I noticed that broken plate here. So let's try to put the rest together and then see if it keeps sticking or not. It's a much tighter fit now because it's going into a jewel rather than just a hole. Okay, so I've got the rotor back on now, and I'm looking at this tiny little wheel here. It's going to be very hard to see on the camera, but when I move it around this way, I can see it's moving round anti-clockwise, and when I move it around this way, it's moving anti-clockwise. So these pull and push little levers here are actually doing their job. So now I just need to put the dial on and get the hands on, and then I can start to see whether it's going to keep OK time or not. So I'm just going to try and get the hands on it now, and then I can worry about cleaning up the dial. I have already put the Rodico all over it, but I just want to get the hands on because it's late at night now, and I just want to see what the timekeeping is going to be like when I wake up tomorrow. So I'm just going to move it until the date flicks over, and then that can be my 12 o'clock. Okay, you can see it's now ticking along, and basically I've set it. It's 141 and 31 seconds at the moment. So it's about 1 or 2 seconds fast. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to bed, and because I've been on this all day, and I'm going to see what sort of timekeeping it's keeping in the morning, because I really don't know how accurate this is going to be. It might be like minutes out per day, it might be an hour out per day, I really haven't got a clue. But yeah, I'm really happy with it so far. So let's see what it's like in the morning. Okay, look at it. It's the next morning now, and it's been running fine. It's switched over. I had the wrong day on it. That was my own fault. I was a day behind. But check that out. Look, 11:09:07, 10. From memory, it was about 1 second fast last night. So at this moment in time, bearing in mind I haven't been wearing it, it has just been on the bedside table. It hasn't lost any time whatsoever. So that doesn't mean it's not going to lose time when it's on its front or its side, but I'm not going to regulate that. I'm completely happy with it. So what I've done is I've closed up the back, just clipped it back into place. I'm going to get some polywatch, and I'm just going to clean up the crystal a tiny bit. It already looks near enough immaculate, but there's a few little swirls on it, so I'm just going to do that, and then put the strap back on it, and I'm going to call it a day. So this is what I'm going to be using, and this is for acrylic, so basically the plastic ones. Move over to a soft cloth. Okay, now I'm just going to pop the strap back on it. Right, there we have it. So let's get some nice close-up shots. So here we have it finished. Now, it was already in very good condition. There's a few little marks on the crystal, and they're not on the inside, they're not on the outside. They seem to be imperfections in the middle. So I don't know whether you can see one there and one there. I don't know whether if I kept polishing, they would come out or not. But to me, they look like maybe little air bubbles that were done in the process. But I suppose it is more likely they're scratches. But they just seem to be a long way away from the top and a long way away from underneath as well. But if you look at that, it looks good, obviously, because it's automatic. It's got the sweeping second hands. Now, personally, do I like this watch? I like the fact it's square, and I love the black dial. Basically, I really, really like the watch, but I hate the width of the strap. So this is a 22mm wide strap here. And to me, on my wrist, it's just far too big. Now, this is just a cheap strap. It doesn't bend very nice, but once it gets worn in, it will feel a lot better. But to me, I think it's still just too wide. If this was a 20mm or even a 19mm, personally, I think it would look a lot better if it was like around about that wide instead of that wide. But that's just personal opinion. Other people would like the wide strap. Right, let me show it to you on the actual wrist. And that's the behind of it there. So it looks like it has been heavily polished in the past, because this looks all, you can see kind of pit marks, and then it looks like it's all been polished out. But I think overall, I would say that for the age of the watch, I would say it is in fairly good condition. There we go, ta-da! Wrist shot. So I really enjoyed this one. Big thanks to Mike from My Retro Watches, because it really was just nice just to be able to just watch his video, pause it, do mine. Watch his video, pause it, do mine. And I completely did it step by step. So yeah, check out his channel. If you like anything to do with Seiko watches, you're going to like his channel. And also just dismantling watches, finding faults, stuff like that. Check it out, and if you like it, obviously subscribe. Am I going to make money on this watch? Not so sure. Remember, I've got to take into account eBay and PayPal fees. Obviously, I had to get that spare, you know, the bridge where the jewel had gone. So it's probably going to be unlikely I'm going to make much money. Hopefully, I won't lose money on it anyway. But for me, it's nice to see something that wasn't working again. And at this moment in time, working quite reliably. But as I say, I don't know about long term. Maybe it does need regulating. Not too sure. Also, that little lever that was missing, that's still missing. Chatting to Mike about it, and basically he said it's quite common for them to be missing. So unfortunately, the next buyer, they will also have to use a paperclip technique in order to get it out. But at least I know that that's an option now for future. All that is left now is to sell this little beauty and see what it sells for. You're going to find that out right now. A few days have passed since that last part of the video. I had this working well. It worked for 3 days, keeping pretty good time. It was running a little bit fast, and I put it on the demagnetizer because I thought maybe it was magnetized, and then it stopped, and I thought, okay, fair enough. Shook it up, it started working again. Then the next day it stopped, and then it worked after I shook it for a few more hours, then stopped again. I spoke to Mike for a few ideas, and he told me a few little suggestions, and then basically, bearing in mind he obviously hasn't seen the video as of this time, and I stripped it all down again, changed around, you know, tried looking at different things, seeing if I could work out what the problem was. I spent another day, believe it or not, working on this, and I couldn't get anywhere. So then I listed it on eBay as spares or repairs, and then I spoke to Mike again. And just in passing, I happened to mention that the two bridges were different. And I said that the one that I put in had an extra jewel, because remember I said that it had an extra jewel rather than this kind of like a metal one in the middle here. This one actually has, where's it gone now? There you go. See, this one here is metal and this one here is a jewel. And he said, oh, well, that means that it, instead of being a 6309 movement, it's a 6319 movement. In which case, that's your problem, because on this movement here, the third wheel, this one with 3 little holes, and also the escape wheel are different than the 6309. They're a different size, and that's why I'm having problems with it, where it will work perfectly and then a bit of a shake and it will stop working. So basically what I've just done is, remember that this one here had a missing jewel? Well, not anymore, because what I did is, although I haven't got the proper equipment, I took the jewel out of this one because I had a pusher here That was the perfect size. This is just a friction fit jewel, the perfect size to push it out, and I did it on the mat so it didn't go anywhere. And then I placed it on this one here, and I pressed it down using this again. And I've looked through my new microscope that I've got, and it looks absolutely perfect. So now I'm going to place the original bridge back on here, so the 6309 bridge back on here, and then I can forget about this 6319. Now this was labelled up as a 6309 watch, but obviously it's been a Frankenstein watch in the past, and different things have been used from different movements, or possibly it's a 6319 movement that's been dropped into a case that says 6309. So massive thanks to Mike. Hopefully now when I put this back together, at long last we will have this working, because I have spent so many hours on this. So let's get this back together and let's see if it's keeping good time. Here it is ticking away for itself, but don't get your hopes up, because it's still faulty. It might tick for 10 minutes and then it just stops. It might tick for 2 hours and then it stops. It can even tick for 3 or 4 hours and then it will just stop for no reason. I don't have to shake it around. I can keep it still. It will just stop. To get it moving again, you have to give it a shake, and then it will keep ticking away for another 10 minutes, half an hour, 20 minutes, 3 hours. It's just so inconsistent. It is the most irritating fault to find. So unfortunately, I have to call it a day. I've spent days on this. Now, it means I have to sell it again as a spares or repair. And I've been completely honest with it. I've said, you know, it's missing the lever. I've said I've tried to repair it and stuff. So I've put it on there for £30, taken plenty of pictures. We'll see what happens. Also, it is a 1978, not 1988, so it makes it 41 years old. So it's got a serious bit of age to it now. I'm really disappointed that I couldn't get this working properly. I'm pleased that I managed to get it ticking again, but I just wish that it would work consistently well. But unfortunately it doesn't, so it doesn't work as its intended purpose, which is to tell the time. It is completely unreliable. So we'll have to see what happens, whether it sells or not. But unfortunately it has been a failure on this video, which is a bit of a shame. But hopefully I will be more successful in week 3, week 4 and week 5. Now if you've got any enjoyment from this at all, please still give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe for the rest of this challenge. Take care, bye now.